Okay, we're only seeing me. How do I? Right.
How's it going? Oh, cool. I get a little blurb there when my name comes up. That's very nice. Yes, it is I, Captain Jack. I think I'm the only one on the screen currently, so I don't want to completely take over here, Mace. Hello?
Hello. Uh, yeah. So, sorry to the audience again. Last time I did this, it was all pre-set up. I don't know what's going on, but it's like not working as it did last week. Um, okay. So can we get a mic test, please? Nivik. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Now another one. Now
There
the
we go.
audience can see.
There we go. Excellent.
And Hudi, I see you were in the callers queue waiting. We will bring you in shortly, but we need to introduce the show first.
Amazing.
What are you laughing at me for?
No reason. None at all.
Okay. Hello and welcome to Misfits. Today we're talking about transgenders in sports, specifically. I mean,
Transgender people in sports.
yes. Transgender people, not transgender aliens in the sports. I think a lot of the controversy seems to be around women's sports in particular. I don't think that many people care about men's sports for some reason, although some people do. I'm kind of rambling. Let's go to Captain Jack. Captain Jack, what's your opinion on trans people in sports?
So when it comes to it in just a general way, I think in any non-combat or contact sport, I don't think it's relevant outside of that. But the second it comes to a contact or a combat sport, with the difference between the two biological sexes, it really doesn't matter if it's if you put a woman on a man's team or a man on a woman's team at that point.
What about race car driving?
Race car driving, like I said, no contact or combat. I mean, if you're talking about the cars making contact, that's not really what I'm talking about, because I'm talking about like the physicality of it. But if you want to talk, if you're talking about the cars making contact, then yeah, I'd say that's fine. Men and women can both go into NASCAR. I don't care. NASCAR is one of the irrelevant ones to me.
You don't think women have an inherent disadvantage when it comes to driving, then?
No. Why? Why would they?
I'm joking.
I didn't. You take things so far sometimes. Like I legitimately was like, "Wow, I really hope not."
There's this stereotype here in the UK that women are bad.
No, there's one here too.
Okay. Nivik, what do you think about transgender people, specifically trans women in women's sports?
Well, what Jack said earlier, that does kind of seem like it makes sense. It would depend on the physicality of the sport. But men and women are different, not just physically. So,
but mentally, spiritually, emotionally.
Well, I mean, like women. No. I mean, in the physically and the brain, it's not this. It's not the same. And I don't mean like as in intelligence. I just mean that if you're gonna have a level playing field, then you probably should have it completely. I mean, so even if it's something like race car driving, or golf, well, maybe golf is different. Let me see, maybe darts. I guess I still think there's still there's still a factor there. Uh,
What
I'm
do you?
I
What
don't
about Olympic weightlifting? There's no contact in that. Do you think trans women should be allowed to compete in the women's Olympic weightlifting?
no, that's what I'm saying. If there's an obvious advantage, um,
What about you, Jack?
So when it comes to these specific categories for feats of strength and such like that, like the very specific category of like bodybuilding, and so if someone who has transitioned from male to female and you did that later in life, like after you'd gone through like the onset of puberty, you did it like anywhere in your mid 20s essentially, then I would say no. I think that you've had too much time undergoing a male puberty that has built up your bones and muscle density in such a way that you actually would be unfair for you to compete. However, if science continues on the way that it is, and the way that therapy tries to handle people who go to transition, I think that if they are technically stopped from going through that other puberty, or they are put on hormones at a certain time that does not allow them to go through that puberty in the same way that other people of that general sex do, I think that caught early and then done throughout their life, that person would be able to compete with women in that case. But after you've gone through a male puberty, I don't think it's fair in any way. I don't think it matters if you take hormones after the fact either.
So trans women should be put in the men's league then?
If they want to compete in that sport, yes.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, if that's it. That's it. Yeah, if they want to compete in the sport, yeah, I think that again, this changes for stuff, especially with what is considered a sport. I like freaking what is it? Rock paper scissors is considered a sport in a lot of places. So if we're if we go back and forth on that one, yeah, I don't care. Like there's a lot of these sports that it's not relevant, and a lot of things that are now considered sports. But yeah, any contact or direct competition with physiology, like who can lift more things or heavier things, that's pretty much it. It's not really the same.
What about belly dancing? Do you
I don't,
think?
if
Do you think
it's
what?
considered a sport, if you can pass as a really good looking belly dancer, then do it.
I'm inclined to think women might have an advantage when it comes to
They may, and you know what? It's
when it
up to
comes to
that.
anything involving
It's up to that
flexibility.
person. It's up to that person at that point to overcome a disadvantage that they have than it is to sit on top of a biologically superior advantage. It's not necessarily true to everyone that's going to be watching and judging the belly dancing that they're going to prefer the biological female. That's not entirely true. So, like, maybe the way that they dance is different because they understand they understand a different way of how people think about it when they dance and stuff like that. Like, there's a bunch of different shit going into that has nothing to do with their physiology. As long as they pass through it, I think that they could easily win a competition. And I think passing is an important part here. It's not the end all be all of being trans, but if you are really attempting to live that way out in society or socially, passing is literally like the first thing that you should do to make life easier for yourself.
Fair play. We did have someone calling in from the audience.
Sounds great.
Unfortunately, she's gone. We bored her out of the queue. Well, I say we. I wasn't speaking, so it was you who bored her out of the queue.
Sure. That's exactly.
If she's still watching, Heedy, you're welcome to click the link and come back. We're ready to take callers now. While we wait for our potential viewer to call back in, I'll disclose my view on the transgender sport issue. I don't think women's sport should exist at all anyway.
I
Uh,
fucking yeah.
hear me out though. Okay.
That's a hard sell, buddy.
It's not. Look, I was going to make a joke about it being like, "Fuck women, they shouldn't have their own sport," sort of thing. No, that would have been a joke. No, genuinely, I think we've reached a point in science now where we should be able to put people into leagues based on their physical ability in a way that is more precise than just their gender. I think gender is a very broad rule of thumb for physical ability,
Mm-hmm.
which
See,
worked hundreds of years ago, but now I think we've got the technology to categorize people much more precisely. And it, I think maybe you could do it by muscle mass times
so
weight or something. Put
so
people into
despite the shock
leagues
and
or some.
awe of
Oh,
what you
yeah.
just said, was despite the shock and awe of what you just said, what you really just said is let's get rid of gendering in sports altogether.
Yeah.
And let's just go by let's just go by more specific scientific categories. Which
Yeah. Just
honestly, that sounds like a decent idea to me. I wouldn't have a problem with that. Was it a I mean, if anything, the only thing that it does do is when it comes to certain sports is it's gonna we're not gonna get like if it's all done by science and like if the categories are like exact like you must be like 6'9" to play with 6'9" people. Now all the people in the NFL are only playing against people who are also 6'9". Like if it gets that like specific, you're gonna lose a lot of interest in the diversity of what's going on in the field when you just like you're never gonna have that David and Goliath moment of the little dude being just like faster and he just gets around the big guy and everybody's like, oh shit. Like that's not gonna happen like in those kinds of sports. But other
yeah.
than that, if they're open enough and they're broad enough for like stuff like that to still happen, I think I'd be interested in seeing something like that because that doesn't sound like a bad idea at all.
I would agree height shouldn't be a factor, but factors like bone density and muscle mass are things that we do have the technology to take into consideration. So I don't know why we're not doing it.
I mean, I feel like we could do it now. I feel like the reason why we might not be doing it is because there's been a long time of women doing their best to be more noticed and treated the same. When it comes to sports, it seems like very recently, like people even started really caring or paying attention to women's sports, which is messed up. Uh, in a more general sense, not just the people who obviously cared beforehand. Was it in this case? I don't think that women would have or women would be that happy with as much progress as they made to completely like just get rid of all of that progress by changing the system and immediately going to like a completely merit based thing, which is fine, but it kind of undercuts what they've been working for a long time in their sports. You know what I mean? So a lot of people that have been working a really long time in certain categories going up against certain people, it's gonna change a lot, and I think that some people might get upset about it. I don't know why it took so long to articulate that. Like there was this
Yeah,
big block in
I
my
think
head that got
I
me.
can summarize it as
Thank you.
feminists are not in favor of actual equality. They just want more rights for women.
I feel like it's just maybe not. I feel like the stig it's more just like a it's really just like like an extra like kick to the wound. You know what I mean? It's just like a little extra like
Well,
to
it
the
would be equality.
well yeah. If we're talking about feminists in the derogatory way that I think that you're talking about feminists, you're
There
talking.
is no positive way.
Oh man, there's definitely positive. But in the derogatory way that you're talking about it, I know where you're coming from, and yes, it would be from their point of view and the way that like these like third or fourth are they fourth wave feminists now? The way that third or fourth wave feminists, I can't, I don't even know if it's the fourth wave or not. That's how far deep we are in it now. Is that we're just out here in the ocean, Is the fourth?
Bob,
What's up?
people
I
only
forgot the Vic
follow
was
people
here.
who are sexist and pretending as if they're not and caring about the best interests of women when they really don't. And so they're arguing for them in this transgender debate as if they care, but really they're just pretending as if they care, and they don't they probably wouldn't believe a woman should do sports at all, or in reality they just really their real aim is to take power away from women and oppress them, and they're just they use other arguments as a means to an end to get to because that's what really they want. So they couldn't care like if they're wrestling a dude in the ring, you know what I mean? Or they don't really care about anything about abortion. They're just using those arguments to control as a method to control. And I just my issue is just with disingenuous argument.
I think he's talking to you, Jack.
Oh, I guess it's talking. Yeah, there's a good chance that that's a part of it, especially with the newest waves of feminism. I think that there is a chance that a lot of these people have been making arguments that they just don't quite understand sometimes, and stuff that people seem to be making a big deal out of things that aren't as big of a deal as it is in real life, like on the internet and stuff like that. So when people come up, they're like, when people are not come up, but when people get themselves involved and they're like, oh, being a feminist includes this, and that. I mean, it's such a wide spectrum of people that you can call feminists. There's feminists that believe in every LGBTQ plus AI right that you could imagine, and then there's feminists that are trans exclusionary radical feminists, and they're like, get the hell away from me with everything and involved in that, but yes, go women. So it's just
those latter ones are also known as just the original feminists.
Well, yeah, that's a lot of what people say. I mean, some people would disagree with that. Other people,
They are the original feminists. They're just the ones that didn't change.
I mean, if you'd say so, I would have to see some sort of documentation on that. But
well, if you go back in time and look at old feminist propaganda,
you can go back in time.
They've always been TERFs. These new ones who claim feminism includes trans people, they're changing the agenda.
Well, the agenda's been changed from the original. Like I said, we're on like third or fourth wave now. If you're saying the original feminism is back then and like with TERFs and stuff like that, yes, just like everything else, it's evolved through the time, different waves. That was the first wave. There's the second wave. Now we're sitting at the end of the third or going into the fourth wave of feminism, and it is wildly different, just like anything would be over time after it's gone through a bunch of fucking social change. Is it whether or not the original dislikes what the now is doing is here or there? I mean, it's true that they don't, but
well, I find it quite amusing personally because I never liked the original feminists. I don't like the new feminists, and I find it hilarious that they don't like each other.
I mean, okay, fair. That is actually kind of funny. But when it comes to the sports, I really think that as long as it's not like, as long as it's not a contact or a combat sport, and you have not gone through the puberty of your sex that you had as when you were born, if you go through that puberty, I don't think you should be able to attempt to go to the other sexes sport, just because I think that there's too much going on in there that'll make it way too difficult to compete not at a regular level, not at like a regular level at all. You can do it in clubs and stuff like that easily, but on an actual professional level, I think it'll be a problem.
We now have a caller from the audience.
Excellent.
Heidi, hey, Heidi. Welcome to the show.
Heidi.
What's your view on transgender people in sports?
Had to unmute. Okay. Yeah, as far as sports, I don't think trans people should be allowed at all in sports, in any competitive sports. Where there's any kind of, like, maybe in school for what do they call that? Recreation, like in physical education at school. But if there's any kind of a title to be had or a prize to be won, no way should biological men be able to compete against women. That's bullshit.
We
The whole
have
point to
a
having gendered sports leagues in the first place is so that women have a fighting chance to compete against each other, not competing against biological men.
Well,
That's fucked up.
did you hear my solution earlier about?
No, I stepped out for a smoke. What was it?
Okay, so my solution was instead of separating the sports by male and female, we can separate them by bone density and muscle mass.
Oh yeah, I did hear that beginning of that. You said there's scientific ability to measure the quantifiable. Yeah. I guess that would be fine. Like, I remember back in the day when there was the problem with performance enhancing drugs in baseball, and thinking that they should almost be able to have their own league if they're willing to do that to their body, take that risk, that chance on taking steroids and whatever. They want to be, they want to perform to the best of their ability, and you almost don't want to prevent them from doing it if they want to. But it's not, what's the word for it? It's not, well, it's not fair, for them to compete against people who don't take steroids, right? So yeah, I would be okay with that. I think part of the problem might be that there wouldn't be enough, like how detailed would you get in your analysis?
There wouldn't be enough what?
There wouldn't be enough people, like, at each level to make it a league sport. I mean, depending on how detailed you're going to get in your analysis and who to pit them against. You know what I mean? Like, how?
So you
Most
think
of
there won't be
it
enough?
takes a blood test. It's pretty simple. Like, most of it would just take a blood test would be almost enough by itself to start doing that. There'd be a few other tests done, mostly just to measure the bone density and muscle mass after that. But it really wouldn't be that difficult to do to like a shit ton of people. You could do it to a lot of people fairly consistently. You could probably just have them go to their regular healthcare practitioner and get it done, and then you could probably have them just like bring the forms to the athletic commission. They can check that they'd be able to start the form league. It would be easy to mass do this, like, for a lot of people. It wouldn't be that difficult.
Well, that's not my point. My point is that, like, with a lot of these sports, if you're not playing at a professional level, you're paying into it. Like my sister, I just found out recently, races dirt bikes, and she had some trans asshole decide he was a girl all of a sudden, so he could, race in her competition again and beat her.
And wait a
So
minute,
my
wait.
my point.
I
Wait.
don't think
How does being a
I don't think
man
being
help
male
him
does
win a
anything.
bike?
My point is that unless you're playing at a level where you're actually getting paid to compete, people are paying money into this. So, like, it's not going to be worth it.
Heidi,
Huh?
was it a pedal bike race or a
No,
moped?
a motorbike.
I don't see how he had any advantage over her if it was a dirt bike race.
Length of limbs for one thing, strength.
For what?
I'm not sure.
Being
He
strong in a
could
bike
ride.
race.
He could ride a heavier bike, a faster bike.
It's all labeled by CCs. All the bikes have to be
I
at the same
know.
strength. So if
I
it's all
know.
100, if it's
Well,
all 100
you know
cc
what?
bikes,
I'll have her call in and tell you how it mattered.
because I'm telling you right now,
That would be great
if
if
it's
you
the
could do
machine
that.
doing the work, the only difference is ability at that point.
Yeah, but it's still going to have some effect. having longer, stronger
you have
limbs.
to point that doesn't have anything to do with anything when you're driving a dirt bike. What
It
is
has
that?
some. Oh, how about the center of fucking gravity mass, dude?
Women are generally smaller and
Jesus
have a better
Christ.
center of gravity than men.
There's like a 20. There's
Women
like
are generally smaller and have a better
aspects
center
and
of
how
gravity
men are
than men.
different. Are you actually? You're
Women are
debating
generally
on.
smaller and have a better center of gravity than men do.
Are you debating from the stance of that it should be allowed?
When it comes to dirt bikes and stuff like that, yeah.
No, from anything. Anything.
No.
As far as I'm concerned,
not anything. No, that's ridiculous.
As far as I'm concerned, any gendered league to start with
I
shouldn't
talked
allow
about this earlier.
trans.
Rock, paper,
Because
scissors.
there's a reason for it.
Rock,
You
paper,
don't
scissors
race
is considered a
dirt bikes,
sport.
so you don't
Rock,
know.
paper, scissors. I don't.
You don't know.
I know people who race dirt bikes.
Oh, you know people.
I'm gonna
I
need
literally
to
have
stop
friends in my family who race dirt bikes. Whatever.
I'm going to need to
I'm in
moderate
Arizona.
here
It's
because
like one of the
you're
most
both talking over each
deserty
other.
places.
Okay.
There's dirt bikes all over.
Unless you do it yourself, you don't know.
Okay, so I did do combat sports, and I agree that they shouldn't be involved in that. How's that sound? Was it that make you feel any better? So
if
now
there's
that you've been
trans people shouldn't be allowed. Period.
Now that you've been placated slightly, let's go ahead and
Jack, you asked her a question. You have to let her answer.
Well, can it be anything other than a scream?
Well, if you can stop interrupting me, sure.
Here, if I'm quiet for 30 seconds, let's see if you can do a good volume.
I don't even know what the question was.
See how I asked her a question. I'm supposed to let her respond to something she didn't even hear. That's amazing. So
that's because what I'm going
to tell you is that there's things like rock, paper, scissors nowadays that are considered sports. Can you tell me an advantage that a man over a woman would have in rock, paper, scissors?
Reaction time? I don't know.
Yeah, not in a way that it matters to rock, paper, scissors.
Do you want me to research it? How about visual acuity?
Not as it compares to rock, paper, scissors. It's not going to matter. You can close your eyes and play rock, paper, scissors.
Yes, it's going to matter.
You can close your eyes and play rock,
Give me a specific. I will research it and get back to you, Jack.
That one works.
It matters.
It
matters with every sport.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it
yes, it does.
No.
Yes, it does.
No, it does not.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
That's very amazing that you can continue to say yes to when I say no. And
if you will give me a specific,
I'm very proud of your ability to do that.
Hey,
but I'm not going to do that with you all day.
I'll look it up. I'll research it and I'll get back to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead and give me the stats for the gender differences in rock, paper, scissors. I'd love to hear it.
Well, like I said, visual acuity for one thing, and that is a male-dominated. Yes, it is.
Oh my god!
I can tell you that off the top of my head.
When it comes to rock, paper, scissors, I think you're not seeing the
reaction time and visual acuity.
Yeah, you can close. I can close my eyes and play rock, paper, scissors.
Right off the top of my head, I can give you that one.
Do that.
Come up with something else.
No. You don't have. No, I can close my eyes and play rock, paper, scissors. It's not required to look. Visual acuity immediately goes out of the window. And if I'm not looking at all and I'm just going off of timing, then reaction time doesn't matter either because I can do that as well.
Example.
So that we're both.
That's a dumb example.
Guys, all right.
It's a dumb example. Give me something real.
Mean anything, and I just explained it to you. You're just not willing to listen.
Let's not
give me something real. You're not willing to listen either. You total hypocrite.
How about chess? That's a sport.
Yeah.
I thought it was a game.
It's a sport.
Isn't there a difference between a game and a sport?
Not now. Chess is considered a sport.
Pretty much any game.
A sport is where you're physically and where your physical movements actually have an effect.
All
right, I'll look it up.
The idea of what a sport is here.
You're such an obstinate douche.
Chess actually has professional.
Oh man, my feelings are so hurt by some lady.
Chess actually has professional leagues now. So I think a
game is a physical or mental activity or contest that has rules and that people do for pleasure. A sport is a contest or game in which people do certain physical activities according to a specific set of rules and compete against each other.
Just like
so, I guess if it's competitive, yes, it's considered a sport.
So when it comes to like windsurfing, or when it comes to like surfboarding, or when it comes to like endurance running. These are things that men and women can compete against each other and not have it be a problem.
Nah, I disagree with you there. I think
endurance running.
Disagree too.
Endurance running is different. I specifically mentioned endurance running and not all forms of running.
But you also said surfing.
Yeah, surfing. I think women can be just as good as men at surfing easily.
Yeah, they can be just as good, but it's a little bit harder.
I didn't, but that's not the point. It's not about how difficult it is for them to be just as good. You can be just as good. It's that's
Anyway, what I called
Okay,
in
yeah,
to
I see
say,
what you're saying. Yeah, there isn't a ceiling on what women can reach that, like, yeah, I don't think there's a, because like if you go into boxing, if you were to take away
yes.
the
There's a
gendered
ceiling.
division, let's say all men and all women are competing in boxing, you'd find that at the top league you only have men. But
Yes.
if you would go to surfing at the top league, you'd probably have a few women in the top league
Yeah,
in surf.
easy.
Okay,
Yeah, and that's
yeah.
what I'm talking about when it comes to, there are certain ones that men and women can compete in that's not going to be that big of a deal. But I agree that I think there are a bunch of them that when they do compete, it's going to be a huge deal, and and that shouldn't be a thing. That's why it's very specific to pick out which one of these matter for this and which ones don't.
I completely disagree. But anyway, what I called in to say was I don't really appreciate hearing about the from a penis haver, for one thing. And for another thing, transitioning anybody before puberty is mental and emotional and physical abuse, and it shouldn't be allowed.
According to
You
APA,
know, I'm starting to get
that's
to the
fine.
point when
According
I
to the
first
APA,
when I
it's not.
first
That's
heard
fine.
about this whole thing, I was trying to be sympathetic
It's
to trans people, but the more I see and the more I hear, these people are monsters. They're selfish. It's
Ooh,
ridiculous that we're even allowing them. You know, and like when I
I'm sure you
ooh.
have
first
so
heard
much
the
evidence to back this up.
suggestion
It's not
that the
anecdotal.
kids should start getting taken away from these parents, I disagreed because I'm very careful about judging other parents, but now I'm to the point where, yeah, we need to start taking these kids away from these parents. It's abuse.
I was on board with you for most of that. It is definitely abuse to transition a child, but you can't say the trans people are the monsters. They're the victims,
No, it's the
surely.
activists, it's the advocates. Trans
Right.
people
Yeah.
themselves are generally pretty nice people, but that
Mm.
asshole who's chest feeding his baby, that's disgusting. That's not even
Yeah,
milk.
everybody
And
thinks
he's
that's
passing along a bunch of drugs and chemicals to that
nasty.
barely newborn baby, and that's going to hurt that baby in 10 years or 20 years. That's disgusting. They're
I think
doing
we can
I
all
human
agree the
experiments.
extremists suck.
It's horrible.
Yeah,
I'm
we can all agree the
disgusted. We
extremists
should
are fucking
start taking
terrible.
away the babies.
okay.
We should
Yeah. I
start taking away the kids.
I have seen
Fuck
a
those
couple.
fascists.
I
I'm
have
sick
seen
of them.
I have seen a couple of examples of men, trans women, biological men breastfeeding babies in the news, and it is very weird. However, I do think that that man is a victim, maybe not quite as much as the child, but pretty closely, almost as much of a victim as the child. I think that
Should we
guy.
start putting the doctors in jail? I'm okay with that too. They're doing human experimentation.
Mm, it, whether someone goes to jail or not, I think needs to be down to a case by case basis. But I think
Okay, sue them then, civilly, into oblivion so they die penniless. I'm okay with
sue
that too.
sue them for what?
For abuse, I don't know, a malpractice.
Well,
They're
technically wouldn't be
experimenting on
considered
people,
malpractice.
on vulnerable people who don't know what the hell they're doing. They're
So,
getting talked into doing this shit
well, let's use the
by
example of the
professionals.
let's use the example of the man breastfeeding the baby. That's a guy who I think is a victim of gender dysphoria, and I don't think that's anyone's
He
fault. I
has
think
some kind of
that's
perv fetish where he liked to have his nipples pinched. Before that,
possibly, but in good faith, I
no,
think
it's
maybe.
documented. He admitted to it.
Okay, maybe in that one case, I'm not familiar with that
That's pretty bad.
specific
Then
I
case.
know it kind of sucks to pick one
if
case
that's actually
because
if
they're
that's
all
actually
fucking
documented,
perverts.
they're not all perverts. Some people actually have mental illness, but okay.
I'm not familiar with that
Passing is
specific case, but
deception. It's
in
selfish and it's lying.
until
Well,
proven otherwise, like in the case you said, I like to assume that they just have a mental illness and that they need our help to
Help.
deal with that
yeah,
in
Yeah,
whatever way
and
they
not be
can.
pressured into it by so-called professionals.
agree.
I agree.
Yeah,
Hooray, we found common ground. Woohoo.
nobody wants to see that. We're all on the same page there.
Nivik's been silent for a pretty long time. Nivik, is your mic working? No,
Let's say
it's
that again.
like
Sounds like you're about capability.
Nivik, we can't hear you.
Yeah,
at
about
all.
capability. Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Can you hear?
It's kind of what Maze said a little bit earlier. Kind of what
how-
Maze said a little bit earlier about this.
How are you
is
able to hear him?
He's just really quiet.
Well, can you translate for the audience? Because if I can't hear, the audience probably can't
Should
hear.
be
Nivik, you sound muffled.
Are you trying that? Right? Are you talking?
Can I hear him? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't hear you well enough.
It's a
to
little bit
understand you.
better. You sound really muffled, Nivik.
Yeah, you're pretty dampened, man.
Testing.
I can still hear you fine. I'm not going to be the one that's going to be able to help you out. It's going to be one of these two because I can hear you. I can hear you fine.
Okay, tell you what, Nivik, you talk to Jack, and then Jack, you just repeat what Nivik says before you respond.
Sure, let's go.
No, I was just asking about capabilities. So, like, if a woman's more capable than a guy, physically, she should compete against him.
Okay, so what Nibby just said is it sounds like you're more about capability if a woman.
No.
What?
I'm asking if that's like your angle.
Oh, you're asking me if that's. Oh yeah, no, essentially yes, but I have to. They can't hear you, Nivik, so I have to repeat what you said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so essentially, what Nivik just said was that it seems like that you're about capability. Is that true? Do you think do you think that like if a woman can do X and the men in that sport do X, and it's on the same level, should they be able to compete? Essentially, yes. If a woman can, if it's like I don't know. I'm gonna make up a sport just to make this make sense real fast because I just don't care. I don't really want to remember rules. If it's about putting a thing on like a fucking table really fast in a certain way, I don't fucking know. But if it's that, and the average man in like the professional teams can put 35 things on there, then I think is it in that case, if with the system we have right now, if a woman wanted to compete, she'd have to at least be able to put 35 things on the table. Otherwise, it wouldn't even be fair or okay to have her compete.
So the best woman has to equal the average man? That makes a lot of sense, Jack.
Would you like me to? Can I finish talking, or are you going to interrupt me?
Are you gonna talk forever?
No, I'm not. Here's what's going to go on here then. Okay, so when it comes to this specifically, it's not really about the average man. It's that the average man to be able to have a fair, like, be able to compete professionally. The average man not professionally doesn't put 35 up. That's just professionals in the sport. So that's what I was saying. Got a little confused there, a little heated because you're hearing some stuff you don't like.
No, I wasn't confused. You said exactly what I said
sure.
in different words.
Okay, if that's what you feel, that's fantastic. Was it you're oh man, you're so great. What a great embodiment of female feminism, ladylikeness. How wonderful! Look at that, just exactly how you'd expect somebody
I don't think
that
she
believes
said
in
she
that
was
tag.
feminist.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I supposed to?
No, I'm sorry. I thought you would want to uphold those values.
feminist
No, I thought you would want to
and
uphold those
delicate
values because that's how you're about.
and sweet.
Sorry, I don't have an expectation of your
and should
behavior.
I acquiesce?
figured you wanted
Should
to
I
do that because
acquiesce
that's
to
how
your
you are.
standard, Jack?
No,
Is
I don't
that what
have
I should
I don't
do
have an
as a
expectation of your
woman?
behavior. You do
Because
you call yourself a
you're
feminist.
the expert on feminism.
Because you call yourself a feminist, you have an expectation of your own behavior.
When
I
did
don't have
she
an
call
expectation
herself a
Oh,
of your
and what is
behavior at
that
all.
expectation? Can you tell me
I'm
what
not
my
sure.
expectation
I'm not
of
sure.
me
You're the
is?
feminist. You would
Oh,
have to enact that. It
wonderful.
seems like you're doing
You are
doing a
fucking
bad
brilliant.
job according to
You're
other
fucking
people.
brilliant.
You see how
Did-
great
Just
you are?
get
Interrupt.
on with it.
You're
Do you
amazing.
Say what
guys?
you're gonna say.
Do
I'm
you two
trying
have-
to, but you keep talking. How amazing is that?
So do you two have like some sort of beef that started before this show? Like, where,
No,
where the
she's
fuck
a
did
very
this come
upset
from?
lady that doesn't like hearing about things.
So
It might
No,
have you
I
two-
don't. I don't want to. I don't like a penis
might
to ever
be
tell
because
me
she's
what
like-
feminism is to start with. And then the other thing is, if you want to advocate for trans people to compete
there's a
in
pause
sports,
in the memo
you
here.
can go fuck yourself, because that is just the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It sounds like there's a pause in the memo here, so let's go ahead and figure that out. I don't know. Maybe something like that's happening. Is it I feel like you're having like a hot flash or something. Maybe you should relax for a second. Is it so when we get over here,
What, do you have low T? Is that
that's
why you know what
amazing.
feminism is?
I'm sorry,
I guess
what?
you can't get a hard on, huh?
My dick
Are
works
you
just
having
fine.
trouble
If you want to
keeping
come
hold of
over
your
and
bowels?
figure it out, you can.
Are you leaking out your butt?
What? My nails look better than yours, and you're a feminist. What?
Oh
This
yeah,
is
because that's all that women have. How are your boobs?
Pretty
How are
nice,
your
actually.
boobs?
They're pretty tight.
Because that's all a
okay.
woman is, right? Hair, nails, and boobs.
You're making a lot of us.
Fuck
See,
you.
you have so much
God, you
anger.
are such an
Oh my god, you
asshole.
have so much pent up anger. It's so great to hear. You're literally just like exploding. You're like telling on yourself for how you feel about shit. It's so cute. Continue.
Telling on myself for how I feel about
I want
what?
to continue on with the transgender
I'm perfectly
conversation.
willing to express my opinion about trans people.
You know what? I can hear it. I can hear you shouting it from the rooftops. It's not a good one, but I can hear it. Is it nice?
Good.
Can we
Good
continue
for
on the
you.
actual transgender
You
topic?
sound like a complete moron.
Oh my god, I'm so wounded by some lady. It's like fucking
I'm sure
90
you
years old, and
are.
I never
sure
talked
you
to.
are.
I'm very worried about it.
I'm sure you are.
It hurts my
Yeah.
soul. Oh
Yes,
man.
yes.
Oh
And you're
man.
some kind of pristine being,
I never said
like
I was.
superior to the rest of us,
See,
right?
that's something you're
Yes,
assuming.
you can
You've
sit
got
in
so much
judgment.
pent up anger in you.
Go ahead.
You
Go
have so
ahead.
much pent up.
You
I can
must
see
be
it.
like God. Oh, I worship you because you're so intelligent.
I
and
must be
brilliant.
like God. I mean, lady, if that's what you're seeing, you know, I mean,
God,
that's
you
your
won't
vision.
even
That's
admit
fine. I
obvious
can be
truth.
whatever you want me to
What is
be.
wrong with
I
you?
can be whatever you want me to be. If you see God, that works great for me. So, Mace,
So,
let's go ahead and
Yeah,
continue on.
because you can deceive everyone because you're selfish and a liar.
Oh my God, I'm all these things that a stranger's calling me. Ouch. Let's go ahead and continue on with the show
Ew.
here. I'm very
the,
worried about it.
Just
the,
fucking say it then. Be concise. Are you going to ramble on for an hour? I don't have
I'm
time
sorry, it's
for
a
that.
complicated topic, and you
Yeah.
got your sound bites from like fucking Fox News and shit. But not everybody watches a bunch of retarded drivel and drains their brains out.
Yeah,
like
see,
a
that's
goddamn
what you
idiot.
assholes do. You put
No, that's what
words in
you
my mouth
do.
and then
It's a
shout me down.
complicated
Are you going to
topic.
ban me
It's
now?
not just. It's
Am
not
I
just.
not going to get to speak for myself as a
I heard
woman?
a thing, and I say a thing, and it's done. As soon as I see it, I know because I've got
I'm
this
not doing any
transcendent
Minecraft here.
morality. No, it's not. What
I'm
it
just
actually
trying to
is, the
get the
fucking
fucking.
complicated
I'm
topic.
trying to get you to fucking say what you want to say and finish.
I was
So
waiting.
other
No. We were done. No. I stopped talking to you the moment you started acting like an idiot. And I was trying to hand it back over to Mace. I've been trying to do that for the last fucking 5 minutes, but you won't listen.
Well,
so you
nobody
keep
can
talking.
hear what Nivik
Let's
has
go
to
ahead.
say because
Mace, I've
you're
been
too
waiting for
busy
it.
rambling
You keep
on and on and on.
Mace. Let's go ahead and continue
Not
on. Like I've been
saying
trying to give the
anything.
mic to you for
You're
5
not
minutes.
fucking saying anything.
I'm trying to
I,
give him the mic.
I don't know if this is good content or bad content. But,
Neither do I.
this was supposed to be a show where we discuss about trans women in sports, and now it's turned into Jack versus Heedy. Just what is this? A roast?
Oh gosh,
Turned into a bit of a roast. Hopefully, it's in good faith. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, I'm not
Sounds
tripping about
like
it.
it sounds like
Heidi and I are
maybe
fine. We're
there's
best
some. Oh, okay. So you are just having
Excuse
banter.
me?
Oh no, I
Right.
just that's how little I'm like worried or concerned about. That's how I feel on the inside. Like we're that close. I don't care. Like
Oh,
we're
that's
not
how I
actually
feel
that,
about
we're
it
not
too.
actually
Captain
that
Jack is
close.
a
It's just
moron.
I'm not worried about anything she says. We're good.
Nivik, have you fixed your mic now? No. Okay. Well, I think we may have exhausted the trans topic, but I do have, I suspected we might have run out with this topic, so I have a backup.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
What do you
Baldur's Gate.
Okay, I actually have a really controversial take about it. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Because I've noticed that everybody wants to play Baldur's Gate, but nobody wants to gates my Baldur.
That was a really long way to go for it. I liked it though. I liked it. It was a really long way to go for it, man. But it was just funny enough to make me chuckle. So I guess that if that was what you wanted, you got it. When it comes to the Baldur's Gate, which is a video game, Heidi,
Whoa! Do you think I was actually inviting you to talk about it?
Baldur's Gate, yeah.
No, I was just setting up that one-liner.
No, we're talking about Baldur's Gate real quick. So when it comes to the video game, honestly, the only thing that I don't like about it is that it seems like they are doing everything that all media is doing, which is rehashing shit. It literally looks like Dragon Age if you just gave it brand new stuff. Like if you just took Dragon Age and you just 2023'd it, that's what Baldur's Gate seems like to me. And that's fine, I suppose, but it just doesn't. I'm not seeing a significant enough change in these video games over time. Just like I'm not seeing a significant change in movies or like comic books or anything
They're
good like that.
rebooting everything.
Yeah, it's just
because
all
we've
rehab.
lost our creativity because everybody's so afraid to talk.
Is that what it is?
Because they might get accused of regurgitating Fox News points, talking points.
Oh, you're still salty about that. Okay, I thought we'd moved on.
So
No, I'm saying there's a lack of creativity, dummy. Can't you hear? Don't you understand English?
No, I also heard how salty you were. It's just as bad as the ocean
everything
behind me. No, I agreed. I was with you on that. They are rebooting. They're rehashing everything. It's in movies.
Because everybody's afraid to be creative.
I agree with that. I would love for people in Hollywood specifically to be more fucking creative when it comes to this shit. The only thing we got recently that was any good at all was the Marvel movies, and now everybody's like fatigued. Everybody's like fatigued out, and like nobody wants to see a Marvel movie anymore because there's like 90 of them.
He doesn't even get how it's all his fault.
I forget that it's I'm the cause of that. That's my bad. Bad, guys.
I enjoyed the Marvel movies, most of them. However, I have actually been watching a few old movies recently, and I have noticed the quality difference is very noticeable.
It depends
old
on
movies
what
are much better quality than the modern Marvel films.
They're too busy dictating from on high morals and values.
That's
woke Hollywood.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of wokeness stuff like that. China gets to get rid of it though. Did you know that? Most of the Hollywood films cut that stuff out for China.
Yeah, because that's an opening a market of 1 billion people. So what? That's economics.
I just think it's. See,
that's how money works.
I'm bringing up a topic that's interesting, and you're getting all spicy with me. You're a little habanero right now, you know. Was it
I'm just saying what I think about opening a Chinese market. What's wrong with that?
Nothing. I just.
Do you have some kind of a problem with every word that comes out of my mouth?
No, I just think you're being a little spicy.
Maybe it's your interpretation.
Have you ever had have you ever meditated? You ever relaxed, like breathed into your nose, out through your mouth?
Yes, I do very often.
Okay,
go fuck yourself. You're not going to teach me anything.
I haven't tried to teach you anything. So the only thing that I'm going to ask.
Have you ever meditated?
The only thing that I'm going to ask you at this point is: are you normally like this? Is this like you normal?
Maybe it's your fault. Maybe it's your problem. Maybe it's your interpretation.
Maybe it is.
Maybe you don't know how to listen.
You sound like so. There might. I don't want to go down this like incredibly terrible stereotype thing, but you will find
it. You that's exactly
you know,
what you do.
I could do better than that.
You are a stereotype.
Of what? Go ahead. What am I a stereotype of?
You're a stereotype. Heterosexual man. I don't know.
Of a heterosexual
I don't know what you are.
That's a good one. That was just as good as anything I've. Wow! I gave you an opportunity. I literally handed you a silver platter to get me, and you fucking fumbled. That was adorable. Oh my god!
I'm not trying to get you, dumbass.
Yes, you are. It's so cute. So
no, I'm not.
I think but the overall thing is.
I never realized what an asshole you are.
I didn't care. I've never cared to know you enough to care about your opinion on me. Was it?
Oh, good. Good for you. Now that I know, I will avoid you in the future.
I'm not worried about you avoiding me. Why would I care?
Good.
Is this what you tell men that you think are interested? I'm going to avoid you. I'm going to avoid you. That's going to hurt your feelings. I don't care.
What would I need a man for?
Oh, okay. So she is a feminist.
Oh man, I don't know. I could name a few things, but you know what I mean. Like, I'm sure you've got, you know.
I have my battery-operated boyfriend.
That's what I was about to say. I'm sure that you got that, and I'm sure it keeps you warm at night.
And he does much more better job than any man.
I'm sure it keeps you warm at night. I'm sure that you're very mentally stable.
I have my kids to keep me warm at night. We all sleep in the same bed.
It sounds like it.
We get to play footsie. Yeah,
that's disgusting. I'm going to have to see if we can get somebody on that. That's a little gross.
Why?
You're playing footsies with your children? That's.
What's wrong with playing footsie with your child? Do you have a child?
No.
Do you know what it's like to be a parent?
No.
Figures. So keep your fucking mouth shut. Just like you don't know what it's like to be a woman. So keep your
Right.
mouth shut about
Okay.
that too.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I forgot. I forgot. I
about what
forgot.
you're
You can't have
talking
a
about,
perspective on
asshole.
things. You can't have a
You
perspective
don't
on shit
know
unless you
shit.
actually go through it. I forgot.
You don't know
Mm,
shit.
Can't have anything.
Yeah, being a
Jack,
parent is very involved.
Jack,
And I'm
I think kids might
Yeah,
be a touchy
Jack, cut it
subject.
out.
So,
I can say. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I will say first off, this is our show, and I'll honestly bounce her out in a second if I fucking.
Masa's the one that's telling you, fucknut.
I don't give a shit, Heidi. Calm down.
You're not watching. I think he's the host.
Calm down.
I'm watching his channel.
This is
I'm not here
our
to see
show.
you.
Our show.
I'm here to see you. I
I
don't
think
owe
I'm
you
the
any
captain
respect, Jack.
If you is that how you're gonna do it? Because I will run all the
Because it's his fucking show. And
it's
he's
our
going
show.
like this. You fucking
It's
idiot.
Heidi, will you shut
Because
the
you're
fuck
such
up?
a fucking know-it-all.
Will you shut the fuck up?
You
Thank
shut the fuck up.
Mace, can you
Okay.
bounce, please? I'm getting tired of this.
Look, Heidi, you do need to calm down, but I will give you a pass on this one because I think it sounds like kids for you might be a bit of a sensitive
Oh, fuck
subject.
you both.
Just
Okay.
okay, there we go. Perfect. I don't give a shit. You can't come at me like that and then have me swing back at you and then get all sensitive. That's not how that works. You can't you can't attack people and go, "Oh man, it's off limits because they said a thing that I'm very particularly sensitive about." Don't start swinging at people. It's a terrible idea.
I was hoping we could get a few more, like, actually on topic,
I was gonna try, but
potential YouTube clips, but we may have lost that opportunity. Okay. Nivik, have you got your mic working now?
I don't know. I'm having technical issues. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can kind of hear you now. It's a shame. I was going to ask her what she thought of trans people in Baldur's Gate and trans people in movies, but never mind.
I was again. I tried to stay on topic and hand it over to you every time I wanted to reset the conversation, but that wasn't happening. So sorry we couldn't get those clips in there.
Yes, well, unfortunately, when two women fight, they both have to get their so it's never gonna end.
Oh my god! You know what? You know what, Mace? Do one thing for me. Grow like sideburns, and then you can say that to me again. Okay, just one set of sideburns. It can be thin too.
Nivik. Nivik, come on. Oh yeah. Also, Jack, aren't you like late for work now?
No, I've got about 20 minutes. I actually do have to get going.
Okay, well, maybe that's a good place to finish the show then. So, thank you very much to everyone who was watching. And we don't have any other live viewers other than Heidi, but thank you to everyone thank you to Heidi for calling in, and
Absolutely. Thank you, Heidi.
everyone.
As much as we had a problem just now, I don't actually dislike you in any way. I don't know you at all, so I don't have a problem with you. I don't. It seemed like we just had like kind of a really heated exchange there. I also, like, based on what you said at the last bit, don't think that we're ever going to interact again, and I don't care. But just know that I don't actually like have any bad feelings towards it.
Oh no, there's got to be a round two.
I mean, if there is, that's her choice. She just said she's going to avoid me. So
let's see. Audience who are watching this not live, comment under the video on whatever platform you're on, and let us know. Do you want to see a round two of Jack versus Heidi just roasting each other, or do you want us to stay more on like serious, actual topical stuff? Nivik, do you have any last words, Nivik?
Oh my god.
No. Okay, Jack, your turn.
We generally don't get that spicy. I appreciate everybody that's been listening and watching. Please call in on any of our next episodes if you want to have a great discussion. Gets a little fun here sometimes. We have a good laugh. So join us in our Discord? We can get the link in. I will put the link in the comments below. So we'll be able to do that there, and have a great day.
Yeah, actually, if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, you should be able to find the Discord link somewhere in like the About Me section or something. It will be somewhere. So yeah, thanks.